In Chapter 4, we're going to run through the process for creating a new application. You'll need to have your NetConnect server again. It'll need to be licensed. You'll need access to the admin portal as usual, and we're going to be publishing a desktop today, so you'll need to have a Windows server or a PC to connect to. We're going to cover off how to prepare your server for access, how to create a new application. We'll show you the end user experience on that new application, and we'll also show you how to configure some of the more common features that people need, such as printing, the hyperdrive, and copy paste. First things first, we're going to connect to the server whose desktop we wish to publish and make sure everything's in place to allow us to establish a successful connection via NetConnect. We're going to focus on a 2012 server here, as there are a couple of extra steps to connect to a 2016 server. Now you can refer to the documentation for more details on what they are. Remember, you'll need to have all the relevant Microsoft licenses on this server, the same ones you'd use if you're accessing a server via traditional remote desktop method. Now the first thing we're going to do is check the remote access status of this computer, and we'll make sure the allow remote connections to this computer option is ticked, and then the NLA option underneath is unticked. The reason we don't want to enforce network level authentication here is simply that we will not be connecting from a network account, we'll be logging in with our local NetConnect admin. Now we'll speak a little bit more about NLA configuration later on in this chapter. Once we're happy the destination is prepared to accept an incoming connection via NetConnect, we'll navigate back to our admin portal and create the new application. Now to do this, we'll navigate through to Applications, Configuration. Now this is the area where you'll perform the vast majority of your application management. You'll see that there are no applications there currently, so we'll simply click on Create New Application. We'll call this Desktop Application and we'll make it a Remote Application. There are a couple of different options here, but let's concentrate on Remote Application for now. Once you click Submit, you'll be taken to the General Properties page for the new app, where you'll be able to make all the necessary config changes. We'll cover off some of these options shortly, but for now we're just going to configure the IP address of the server that we wish to connect to, and we're going to switch NLA authentication to off. Now the server we're connecting to has NLA off, as we saw a moment ago, so we just need to ensure that the application config matches the destination in this regard. Once we're happy, we'll click Modify to complete the setup. The next thing we need to do is assign the application, so let's go back to Application Configuration, and you'll notice there's quite a few more actions available to us now that we've got an application created. Again, we'll cover off some of these later on in different chapters, but for now we're going to keep it simple. So let's highlight the remote desktop app, select Authorize Users. So far we've only logged in with admin, so that will be the only user available to us. So let's highlight that and use these arrows to move the user across into the members column. That application will now be available to the admin once we log back in, so let's sign out of this session and simply log back in, and there you go. The application is assigned to the admin user and available on our webtop. Now if we click the application, we'll see it opens up a RDP session in a new tab. Now if we had Active Directory integration set up, we'd be able to utilize single sign-on, but for now we'll just need to manually sign into the server. Next up, we'll quickly run you through the session control panel. This is accessible via the small arrow at the top of the page, and if we click that, we can see a few options along here. You can send through a Control-Alt-Delete command if you need to lock your PC to access any of those options. You can also go full screen via the blue arrow icon, and if you click that again, it will take you back out of full screen. You can also press Escape to exit full screen if you prefer. There's also a refresh option here, typically used if you need to resize your screen after altering your browser size. We also have an information icon here. If you click that, it'll take you to the FAQ page on our website. We try to keep this current, which we hope will reduce some of the calls you'll receive and help make the end users' lives that little bit easier too. Finally, we have the exit option, which, as you'd expect, closes down a tab and takes you back to your webtop. You can also access your environment with our mobile app, available for Android and iOS devices, and it can be downloaded from the Play Store and the App Store by searching for Northbridge NetConnect. Both support external displays and keyboards, and best of all, we've recently introduced support for an external mouse for iOS, which is pretty exciting. If you'd like to know more about this, send us an email and we'll get in touch. You'll need to have a certificate installed on your NetConnect instance for the mobile apps to work. Okay, next we'll run through some of the advanced options you can configure against your application. So we'll navigate back through to Applications, Configuration. We'll highlight our app and click on the General Properties action. We'll scroll down to the Advanced Options section and you'll see there's quite a few options there, some more useful than others. For the training, we're just going to concentrate on 3 of them. Firstly, we'll enable copy and paste, and to do this, we'll turn on the redirect clipboard flag. We'll also enable the ability to upload documents into our remote session by switching on the virtual drive upload flag. And finally, we'll allow printing, so we'll ensure redirected printers is set to on, which as you can see it is by default. Once we click modify, those changes are saved. You'll need to log out and back in for them to take effect for this account. Now we've confirmed that redirect printers is enabled for this application, so let's run through the printing process. We'll open up our application and let's open up this text file here and click on File Print. Now you see there's a redirected NetConnect printer in the printer list. Now what actually happens when you click on this will largely depend on the browser you're using. For Chrome and Firefox you'll be able to use our one-click printing solution, but you'll need to make sure you don't have any pop-up blockers preventing that from happening. You'll usually find when you click print for the first time, a small pop-up blocked icon will appear in the right hand side of your address bar like this guy. You'll need to click on this and allow pop-ups from your particular NetConnect URL. Then if you go to print again, you'll see the new tab open up with the print preview screen from where you can print your document to any locally configured printer. Now for browsers that don't support our one-click print approach, such as Internet Explorer and Edge, you'll just get the print dialog box in the lower right hand side of your screen. This will allow you to open or save your printed document as a PDF and print from there. Next up, we'll show you how to copy files from your local machine to your remote session. Now we do this via the hyperdrive, which we enabled when we switched on the virtual drive upload flag in our application a moment ago. The hyperdrive is essentially an extra drive in your remote session which can receive files that you drag and drop in. It's important to note that this drive utilizes your NetConnect server storage, so we recommend quite strongly that people move files from this drive to the final destination as soon as possible. You'll see when we drag a file across, we receive a message explaining that whilst confirming that the transfer has been successful. Now if we open our File Explorer, we can see we have an NC hyperdrive mapped to our N drive. If we open this up, we'll see the file that we've just moved across. As we said, we should move this out of the drive to the local server at the first opportunity so we don't start to fill up that local NetConnect storage space too quickly. Finally, we'll show you how to copy and paste text into and out of a NetConnect session. Now before we start, it's important to note this feature is only currently supported in Internet Explorer and Chrome will need a browser extension added to make it work properly. Additionally, we only support plain text transfer at this stage. You'll find further information on the feature capabilities on the FAQ page. We've already enabled clipboard redirection on our app, so let's open things up in Internet Explorer, and the first thing you see when you launch your app is a prompt to either allow or disallow clipboard access. So we're going to click allow and proceed to log in. We'll now open up a file on our local PC. Let's select this one here and we'll copy a line of text. We'll jump back into our NetConnect session and paste that in. You can also operate the reverse way, so if we copy this line of text on our remote session, we can now paste that back into our local PC.